Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. The dojo. How to hire a killer virtual assistant that will absolutely change your business. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and welcome to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If this is the first time listening to the show, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download a copy of the wholesaling map, the massive action plan. And whether you are trying to do your first deal, quit your job, or you're trying to scale your business to 7 figures, this is the exact blueprint that will take you there. So go to the website and download the map today. All right, so let's talk about how to hire a killer virtual assistant and why it's so important. So I can tell you a story. When I first got started in this business, I had quit my job. I had done some deals. And one day I looked over at my wife after just a crazy week. I was running around with my hair on fire, right? I was, answering the motivated seller leads. I was, screening all the sellers, negotiating with all the sellers, getting the contract, taking it over to the title company, calling the cash buyers, getting an offer, collecting the earnest money deposit with a check, dropping it off at the title company. Then I had to run back. Oh my gosh, I've got to send out marketing. And I've got to send this postcard. I've got to approve the proof, or I have to send out this text message. I mean, it was like total and unbelievable chaos, right? Forget about keeping my books straight or knowing how much money I was keeping or making. I mean, it was just a giant mess. And so some of you may be listening to this and saying, oh my gosh, Todd, you just took a peek into my business. Well, don't feel guilty, okay? Because if you are listening to this and if you have done any kind of business before, that is the way that 99% of the way that entrepreneurs operate across all industries. So do not feel bad. Now, if you are listening to this podcast, you hopefully do not want to be the 99%. You want to be the 1%. If you are a one-man show and you're trying to do that first deal on scratch and claw, hey, more power to you. You may need to do that to quit your first job and make that first paycheck. That's your first priority, right? We got to be a hustler. But soon thereafter, we've got to shift from the hustler and the doer to the leader, all right? And leaders empower people, and they equip them with tools and resources to run the business, right? So that this thing can start to throw off cash month after month after month without your personal involvement. Now, this is not going to happen all at once, but today we're going to talk about just this one thing that you can do. If you're working 60 hours a week or even 40 hours a week, a good virtual assistant, a good partner in business, right? When I mean partner, I mean this person that we call a virtual assistant, right, is going to absolutely change the game. Now, you may think that you have heard of this before, but I can tell you that everyone is doing it wrong. They're acting like complete amateurs. They hire the wrong people. They don't train them. They don't empower them. And it's actually more work to deal with these people if you do it the wrong way than if you do it the right way. But if you do it the way that I'm going to talk about in this episode, you're going to free up a tremendous amount of time. You're going to love business. You're going to make more money. This is going to be way more fulfilling because you're going to take people along for the ride, and you're going to take your business into the stratosphere, right? You're going to be able to go on vacation more. You're going to be able to do deals on a whole new level, buy some great things. And maybe if you're trying to make that jump, you're doing deals and you want to quit your job, this new partner / virtual assistant is going to really, really, really change the game for you. So I recently hired someone on my team, and she threw a quote at me during the interview process, which really turned on a light bulb for me. And she says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so she saw this statement in an airport. I think she said in Prague, right? I think many people have also said this. I know John Maxwell has said it, but I think that he also saw it in the airport. And so that really, really, really just struck a chord with me because as entrepreneurs, right, we were like, now, hustle, hustle, hustle. Everything is quicker to do it yourself. And I get that, right? I get that. But I want you to take a look at this process and slow down. It's basically a form of discipline, of planning, of finding the right person, of training that person, equipping that person, pouring into that person so that in the future, okay, they will be multiplicative of you. They make you exponential, right? It's not 1 plus 1, right? 1 plus 1 now equals 11. So what I'm telling you is that this is a form of discipline and planning that if you do it the right way, it's going to absolutely change your business. This is not like a hair on fire type of move. Okay. So number one on how to hire a killer VA for your business, virtual assistant, is I do not like to call a VA or a virtual assistant or virtual assistant, okay? Because they are much more than that. They are going to help run your business, right? So it may be operations or executive assistant or chief of marketing. Whatever it is, you want to give your new hire a name that represents what they are going to do in your company, something that they are going to be proud to tell their friends. So think about it. If you hire a virtual assistant, do you think they're going to say, "Oh, I'm a virtual assistant," and they're going to be proud of that? They might be. But if they're the kind of person that you're wanting to go to hire, they're going to say, "Oh, I help a real estate investor run his entire operation," right? I'm in charge of the marketing and I'm in charge of all the administration. And my job is to make sure that the leads come in and I take the deals that we do lock up to close. It is so exciting. So you want to give your person a sexy, descriptive title, right? Forget the word virtual assistant. So I hired somebody recently and I wrote down chief of marketing, right? And I wrote down the description of exactly what they are responsible for. And it was not task based. Okay. What I mean by this, I'm going to move now here into the second phase. Okay. So now that you've given someone a great title, and you may change the title here after you come up with the description. Number two is you are going to write down what you want to give this person ownership of. Okay, what I mean by ownership of is that they own the end result. So if you want to get marketing off your plate, and this is where a lot of new investors struggle with, or really investors who are seasoned, who are running around like their hair on fire, is you want to schedule out, the direct mail or the texting or the pay-per-click advertising or the cold calling or the list pulling, right? You want to delegate this all out, right? And so you want to be very, very descriptive. Your job is to make sure that our salespeople or I have leads every single day in our inbox within budget for the right people so that we could lock up X amount of contracts, right? So you are in charge of this whole department and your job is to generate, 50 leads a week at a ROI of X, Y, Z. So you want to give them the vision so that if they see problems or something that they can do or a mistake or an action, that once they're in the business, they could take that and make that decision without coming to you, right? You don't want to say, "Oh, pull this list." And okay, I want you to order this postcard, right? You don't want to be doing this on a day-to-day basis. So you want them to own the entire department, the entire process, so that when questions and problems come, they don't hit you. Meaning that the vendors that you deal with, or the problems that you encounter, or the ROI that is a problem, right? They see this before you and now start to think of solutions or take action before you even see it. That's the key. If you have to solve every problem with your new hire, right? I think that this is more work than not having the hire at all. Now, don't get me wrong. You are going to have to train and you are going to have to pour into this person. So I'm going to show you how to do that, right? But eventually, again, you are giving them full ownership so that they can run with this. This is very, very, very important, okay? So look at this like you are truly delegating responsibility and not just a task. Very, very important. So one of the things that our chief of marketing is responsible for is your job is to get out mail every single week, right? We need this amount sent out every single week. This is the postcard that we've used. You need to monitor that we're getting the leads and that we're getting the ROI on the postcards. Your job is to make sure that we hit these lists every 6 weeks. And then if we run out, we need to pull new lists from these different sources. All right. We'd also like to give you the opportunity to search for new lists that we can mail. Right. So you want to give them just full delegation of this responsibility. Now, this does not mean that you hire someone and you just throw this at them and you're not watching them or helping them or holding them accountable or answering them their questions, right? But the end goal is to get them there, right? I recommend when you hire someone, you pour into them and you have a very, very close eye on them and you answer all their questions and you help them because that is going to speed up their learning curve, right? When they're not going to make nearly as many mistakes. So don't confuse this with, oh my gosh, I'm just going to throw this at you, run the other way, right? And hope for the best. I'm not saying that, right? But you're going to eventually give them full ownership. And I'm building this vision for you. So once you have that, description down of what they're going to own, now what I want you to do is I want you to write down your core values. Now, core values are what your company stands for, what you stand for, what you want the people around you to act like and smell like. And when I say smell like, I'm talking about their aura, right? So for example, one of my core values in our company is batteries included, right? We're self-motivated. We take action. We are not passive. We move when we see opportunity. And so one of the things that I want to see is people are self-motivated. I don't have to convince them to come to work every day, right? They're 5 minutes early for the meeting. They're not watching the clock to get off right at 5 o'clock, right? They are excited to be here and they want to see the company make money. So batteries included is one of our core values at our company, right? Another core value that we have is next level, right? So what got us here won't get us there. So we understand that we are constantly innovating and are always open to new opportunities. That's very, very, very important. That's another one of my core values. Number 3 is data, not drama, right? So trust our guts, but verify with the numbers. So we don't get emotional if our things aren't going our way, right? We look at the numbers and make decisions from there, right? We gather all the facts. So those are 3 out of my 5 core values. You want to write these down. You can Google core values for company, get some inspiration, maybe use some of mine for inspiration, but decide, okay, what you are all about and write these down. Because as you write this down, the core value fit is much, much more important than their experience because you can teach this stuff. Okay, number 6 is once you've got your core values, what I want you to write down is everything that you want to delegate. Okay, and I'm talking now in painstaking detail. So now that you have an idea of the overview, say, okay, this is everything that needs to happen, right? So we need to, pull a list. We need to send the mail. We need to make sure the voicemail extension is set up. We need the proof that needs to be approved. We need to make sure that the mail actually hit. We need to measure the ROI. And then we got to repeat that every single week, right? We got to load this up into our texting platform. We have to make sure that 2,000 texts were sent out a day or a week or whatever that is, right? We have to, change up our messages or whatever that is, right? Write that down in painstaking detail in a Google Sheet. Okay. And this is going to be very, very useful later, right? You don't have to describe how to do it yet, but you need to write down the what, right? Not the how yet. Okay. Write down the what and not the how. Everything that they're going to have to learn, and get this on a Google spreadsheet, preferably in the order that you would like them to learn it. Now, that's a little foreshadowing of what's going to happen here later in this episode. Okay. Write that on a Google Sheet. Then once you do that, you then want to write your job ad. Okay. Now in the job ad, you want to have some detail, but not too much detail. What's most important is your core value. So you want that in there. And then you also want an overview, right? Remember how we kind of said the overview of the job. And then you want to write some of the tasks that may be included. But again, you really want to emphasize that you're looking for a leader and someone who wants to really own the outcome. Okay. You want someone who gets it. Say, I am responsible to make this happen. I am not just a robot that's going to do a task. And so write the ad, put a lot of personality in it, right? If you just say, hey, you sent me a template. No, the right way is going to smell like your company, and it's going to have a lot of detail for the position that you want. So this is going to be very, very, very important. Okay. So I've got my own job description. All of my private coaching clients, by the way, get all of my job descriptions and all of my expectations and all of the systems that we use to train. By the way, if you are interested in becoming a private one-on-one coaching client, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/coaching, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/coaching. If you're doing deals, you're making money, you're already successful, but you just want to make more money and really start to delegate and get more time, okay, and freedom, and you really want to take this whole thing to a next level, you can apply there. Again, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/coaching. Heads up right now, there is a wait list. All right. Let's go back to the next step. All right. So now that you have written the ad, you want to put this job ad out. So I like to hire from two places. Number one, I like the Philippines. So you can go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/VA. Okay. And there's a website there called onlinejobs.ph. And so you get a special rate if you go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/VA. And this is a job board of people who are looking for full-time employment. You're absolutely looking for full-time. It's a total game changer. And you want to basically post your ad. I think it's like $97 a month. And so you can buy the subscription and then you can cancel it after you post the ad. Okay. Now, the other hack that I use that not a lot of people talk about that is kind of a secret, but I'm going to share it with you because you are an awesome listener, is I am now hiring in Latin America. And one of the reasons why I love hiring in Latin America, number one, is that is the same time zone as the United States, or if you're listening from Canada, I don't really care where you're operating in, but if you're doing business in the US or on US, it's easier for that person to work US hours. So people who work with us in the Philippines, they're required to work US hours, but if you're Latin America, you're on the same US hours. So I really, really, really like hiring for Latin America. Also, the voice inflections and the sarcasms and the language barrier, I feel like it's much easier. And so I really, really, really love hiring in Latin America. And I've found some really, really, really great leaders there. And so I recommend that you also check that out. So there's some great resources there. Go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/VA. And I've got both those resources there. So you could find a rock star person. The second one is an agency, and they will just find some candidates for you after you post that. Okay. So now you've got candidates. What I want you to do is I then want you to record a video describing the job again, but also the core values, right? Again, very, very important that you demonstrate who you are and how these core values are so important to you, and be really friendly, but just describe situations in which your company kind of acted out these core values and say, hey, we're looking for someone who, fits these. So I'd love to interview you if you feel like you fit these after listening to these. Be prepared to share, number one, why you think this is a fit. And number two, be able to demonstrate how you've demonstrated these in your past positions. So you want to interview now the top 2 or 3 candidates. Very important. If someone doesn't have great writing or you can't understand them, don't hire them. So your team member should be able to communicate, and then they should be able to understand whoever they're talking to with ease. So that is a non-negotiable. Okay. So once you have the interview, it's very important to do it by video conference. So either do Zoom or a Google Meet. You want to see them face to face, eye to eye. And so you want to make sure they've got a nice home office, right? If they are doing their interview and they're in their kitchen, or if they're in their bedroom and their clothes are everywhere, right? Automatic disqualification. So you want to make sure that they've got a nice home office set up, that they're dressed for the interview, that they're in business clothes, and you want to make sure that they take this job very, very, very seriously, in this position very seriously, that they're going to take this role and run with it. So it's very important, again, to get that video conference. Then ask them about the core values. So I would write down before my interview, say, okay, listen, one of my core values is batteries included. And I'd read that to them. Tell me about a time where you are working in a position where you demonstrated batteries included and the result, right? So they call this basically STAR format interviewing, right? I think it's situation, task, action, and result, right? And so what you want to hear is their ability to take your core values and then put them into practice. And so they should have demonstrated that in their past jobs. I can tell you that past performance is definitely predictive of future results when it comes to people. Maybe not stocks, but people. Past performance is almost always predictive of future results. Okay, so now that you've got your rock star, you have 2 or 3 finalists, you're going to pick that one. You're going to make your formal offer, right? Make a very, very, done up email, make it look official. You want to pay them well. If you're in the Philippines, you want to pay them $800 a month, which is definitely on the higher end. Or if you're in Latin America, I'd say $1,200 a month, right? And that is negotiable, right? So just understand you want to pay higher on the higher side to find the best people. So once you have that person, send the email. You may also want to record a video welcoming them to the team before their first day. You want to set up their phone line. You want to set up their email. You want to set up any other the tools that you use so that they have the tools ready to log in. If you're in Slack, which I highly recommend, welcome them to the team and make a huge deal about it. Even if they're the only one person, right? Make it like you are a Fortune 500 company, right? You got to act as if, and eventually you will become. Now, very important here. Remember that list of Google Sheet that you had that had all of those tasks? Really important. By the way, when you set up that email and you set up that voice, mail and do all that system, record it. Go to loom.com, loom.com, and just record yourself setting that up. So this is the last time that you have to do that. So that way, when you bring somebody else on, your new team member can do this for you. And then copy and paste these little Loom videos in the Google spreadsheet. So now all of those tasks, right, or this ownership, this project that you have for now your new team member, they're all listed in a Google Sheet. What I want you to do is schedule a date and time that you are going to teach these and go over each item, boom, 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 go over the list and train them all live. So you can go on Loom, or if it's a conference, you can use a video conference like Zoom or Skype, but just record yourself training live. So that way you don't have to do this on your own, right? Without them there, you could train them and have them ask questions. Now, once you're done with the video, have them document it, right? After they were on live, and them documenting will also help them learn the process. And so now, not only did you teach them live, but now all your processes are documented, and now tell them they are responsible, right? They own the outcome of updating these as things change. So notice that this seems like a lot of work, right? That first week that you train the onboarding, you're going to be spending a lot of time with them, but this is where the discipline comes in, right? Pain now equals freedom later, right? Because either way, there's going to be pain, right? You either can run around like a chicken with its head cut off or your hair on fire for the next 10 years of your life, or you can have a few weeks of pain so that now your business can operate without you. So now once you've got everything documented, you've trained your person, they are now, making moves and now starting to take stuff off your plate. What you want to do is those first 3 weeks, you want to micromanage. Absolutely. Micromanage means that you're looking at what they're doing. You're telling them what to do. You're telling them to document what they're doing. And then you are following up and asking them what they did so that they don't make any fatal flaw mistakes, right? And that is okay. They are going to love this if they're the right person. Now, after they prove that they're competent in certain projects, right, then you can move on. After the first couple of weeks, all it takes is for you to meet with them for 5 to 10 minutes every single day. So I would keep that cadence at least for the first 60 days. Just meet with them for 5 to 10 minutes on your work days every single day and touch base. What did you get done yesterday? What are you working on today? What are your questions? Where can I help? And what's working really, really well, right? Keep that communication. That's very, very, very important. Now, once it's time to hire your third team member, I would say that it's time to start weekly meetings. And I talk about that a lot again with my one-on-one coaching clients. So again, if you are interested in that, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, okay, /coaching, okay? But that's how you hire a rock star virtual assistant, or should I say a rock star partner. For $1,200 a month, you are going to hire someone who is going to change the game. They're going to free up hours. They are going to free up your mind. You're going to do more deals. You're not going to have these gaps in marketing, and you're just going to see your business go to a whole new level. Take time to discipline to do this right up front, and I guarantee you, your business will thank you for it. So if you have not shared this podcast, I ask you to copy and paste the link from the show and share it to 3 or more of your colleagues or friends who need to hear it.